Thank you for listening to Laugh, Lend, and Eat, hosted by Bobby Nodney. Laugh, Lend, and Eat is sponsored by First Option Mortgage and One Good One Staffing Services. Today's guest is the one and only Jessica Peterson. Along with being a real estate agent for eXp Realty in Sarasota, Florida, Jessica also founded the Simply Wow agency. Jessica has authored and co-authored several best-selling books. Bobby will dive deep into all these topics, plus much more. So sit back and enjoy the show.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Laugh, Lend, and Eat the podcast. And man, oh man, guys, I hope you guys are tuning in for this one. We have an amazing guest. I got to hear her last year in Tampa, Florida. She was kind enough to send me one of her books. It's none other than Jessica Peterson, CEO of Simply Wow Agency, real estate agent for eXp Realty, and a TEDx speaker. So Jessica, how are you?
Doing amazing. I'm so happy to be here.
I feel like I've been talking to you all day. Like
Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. It's been, 10 seconds now. We spoke earlier today, I know.
When you called me up, I was like, so I'm like going into this conversation, like I've already had all my Q&A with her. We should just record a phone call.
I know, right? Well, I just reached out and said, hey, should we planning it? And so you're like, no. And we ended up having this friend talk. And so we just had fun talking as two friends, old friends. And I'm happy to be here. You're amazing. So I can't wait to deliver value to all of your listeners and connect with some amazing people.
Thank you so much. So listen, we have a lot to talk about, but first and foremost, that thing behind you, your wall, the thank you cards, is that what that is?
Yes.
Is that like what 1 week of cards that you get in the mail?
Not quite, but pretty close. This is recent. I decided, you receive these cards of gratitude and it inspires me. Instead of shoving it in a box or anything of that nature, I decided to start putting them up. And I will share with you, I'm beyond blessed and feel grateful. This is all the last 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
And I love my community. I love receiving cards. I love giving cards. And that's just a small part of the wow experience that I like to create and spread.
I see a wow card on there. And I see
that's not mine.
I see Christine's 2020 card on there also.
Yes. I don't think she knows. And one of my former coaches, she's so sweet, just spoke with her this weekend. She's retired now. But yeah, Christine's awesome. We wrote the book for safety together. So this one, it's really cool. I don't know if you could see the detail. It was cut out.
It's like a sunset or something, it looks like.
Yeah, it's cut out. I am out here in beautiful sunny Florida. So it's cut out. It just inspires me to receive this. So it's the best art.
So does this replace a vision board? Because now it seems like you have a gratitude board.
I actually have, I'm looking straight across from me right now is a picture, a map of the world. Mm-hmm. And then I also have it's this big, and I know I can't say vision board because it's trademarked. I call it Dream Big Board. It's in one of my books that you read. And I have a card about this big sitting right there and I could see my dreams. Okay.
Because I do wonder, like sometimes, like for me at least, and I can say with vision board, I hope, I don't know, we'll find out, right? If I get a letter in the mail.
You need to be shut down.
We'll never know, I got my attorney on retainer right now. Totally different topic.
Well, do tell us.
No, you're in the hot seat today. So with the vision board, to me, what's more important? And this is so off topic. It's not on the questions here. But I'm trying to figure out, is gratitude more important or having a vision more important? 51-49 or 50-50? How would you split that?
Ooh, I believe they're both important in their own way, right? Mm-hmm. It's almost like kind of saying, which arm do you want, right? They're both both useful. And I'm a firm believer in gratitude. I practice it every single day. Actually, every evening, my daughter and I have a routine. What are 5 new things you're grateful for?
Nice. Yeah, that's Yeah, my dad, he had 6 kids, me being the youngest, and so whenever one of us would complain about the other one getting better treatment, he would literally say, "Which finger would I cut off?" You know what I mean? Like, there's no finger that he was willing to sacrifice, just like his kids.
Yep.
So to me, I guess the vision and gratitude kind of falls in that same arena there. So let's dive into my questions then. Now that I've had my little moment.
Now that I've learned you're the youngest, that explains a lot. No, I'm joking.
There you go. A lot of people have said that to me. You're not the first one who made that deduction. There's another, see, lawyers and therapists both on retainers for me, so trust me. You are a real estate agent for eXp Realty down in Sarasota, Florida, right?
Yes.
And I've seen your websites, and we talked about it briefly, but you do a lot of high-end jumbo luxury type homes.
Yes, that's my niche. I'm pretty simple. I have 2 niches, the luxury, and then there's my community people who share my values.
Okay. So when you're doing luxury homes, because my daughter and I started watching this thing, I know you don't watch it, but it's a thing called Selling Sunset on one of those Netflix stations or whatever that is. And these realtors, they sell those high-end houses out in Hollywood and so on. Is the clientele, in your experience, I mean, I'm just asking, is there a difference in the way you approach them? If someone was trying to get into the luxury end market.
For lending or real estate? That's two.
Both. I mean, I think both, right? I mean, because it does require a different type of disposition, I would imagine, to be able to, because if you're dealing with a type A personality who's got a, PhD and they do brain surgery, right? And they want an X amount of house with this kind of location and this kind of granite countertop, you have to kind of be accommodating a little bit more than the average American middle class homeowner, right? Or no?
Okay, so let's back up. So your first question, and this has been a very popular question, is getting into the luxury market. Because people watch my first active year in real estate, I've tapped into it, and people have said it's taken us years to do this. You achieve this your first year. So I mean, there's a whole formula. If for the lending and for real estate, there's one thing there's probably 2 things that really apply.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna say 3. Actually, there's 3. So you really want to connect with the right people, right? So who are the people in this industry, serving in this industry? And then you've got the other aspect of, are you communicating the luxury market? So for me, over the years, I've branded real estate companies, mortgage. I've worked with all sorts of professionals. And it all comes down to your image online and offline. Are you communicating that? And then, yeah, go ahead, Poppy.
So when you say communicating, are you actually implying, like, on social media? Are you putting up pictures of you at the Ritz-Carlton with a glass of champagne overlooking a sunset, right? Versus a flat tire on Route Highway 4, whatever that is.
That's hilarious. Well, first of all, I'm not a champagne girl in martini, so I'm like thinking, no, I don't do that. I was just at the Ritz celebrating with some luxury customers.
Well, I've seen your videos. I mean, and you have some very high-end videos that you do, these amazing, spectacular, like, you go around, you show the view from the balconies, and you got the ocean view, and you got this happening, and like your own elevators going into your place. I mean, it's all sorts of craziness on your videos.
Yes, I feel grateful. I'm surrounded by some pretty amazing people. Yesterday, I forgot to take video. It was right there on the beach, on the ocean. This house was just beautiful, and hearing the waves go back and forth and crash, I was just mesmerized by it, right? So if anybody knows me, I'm very much into nature. I just could have sat there and listened to that all day long. So when I say communicate, it comes in a variety of different ways. One, I do have a luxury magazine. Other mortgage and real estate professionals are utilizing it, branded to their name. That just got released. That's brand new. So I have my luxury magazine that communicates the luxury. It comes down to the social media. It also comes down to the cards and postcards. If anyone wants to know what I have or use, I'm happy to give you a sneak peek of that as well, to go ahead and communicate it. And my new YouTube channel and videos, like you said, the videos showcasing the penthouse I have listed, which I'm really excited. Average days on market over there is 240, and we did it in 61 days. So
61 days?
61 days went under contract. Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So it does come down to the marketing. It's really fascinating you say, because I don't watch TV. I probably should start watching more TV, but
no, you shouldn't. Don't worry about
I
it.
shouldn't. I don't really watch TV because people always say, well, have you seen this show? Have you seen this? No, but I did launch a YouTube, and it's really fascinating because in a short amount of time that I've had it out, but I just hit a month or a little less than a month, I've had people make comments, oh, we see you on a future TV show. Okay, well, you know, maybe, I'm not sure. I'm having fun showcasing real estate out here because living in an area right by, you know, Siesta Key, Longboat Key, Lido Key, it's a beautiful place, and people always want to know, well, how far will my money go? What can I get? What do houses look like in certain communities? So I'm just starting to do video and recording it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, taking that market and kind of to what we talked about this morning, or this a little bit earlier, it seems like morning, did the lending get more difficult for jumbo loans? Because on my side, being on the mortgage side, it feels like independent mortgage lenders or brokers, either or, take your pick, are kind of not as how do I say this? We're not as competitive in the jumbo arena as, say, a bank mortgage company would be. So XYZ Bank may have better accessibility to a jumbo product than, say, an independent mortgage lender. Do you find any truth in that statement, or is that just a perception that we have?
That's not really a statement. I do have a couple customers right now. So the average home price where I'm at right now is around $315,000. So I do have a couple people over $1 million, and it's more of an irritation because, you know, they'd like to have a loan, not to use all their cash, and to find that it's going to go jumbo and it's a little bit higher interest rate. It's just a little bit more of an irritation to them, I would say. They don't really understand. I mean, I really don't blame them. You know, if they're looking at putting 50% down and have all these assets and to have a higher rate, they're not really understanding of it. But it's not a make or break. It's just more of a little bit of an irritation to them.
Yeah, I mean, once again, going back to that first question, when you are dealing with more high-end borrowers or clientele, they can be a little bit more demanding and kind of almost demanded. Right?
You know, I haven't encountered that.
Okay.
You know, I haven't. And I think that might be a misconception out there. It kind of goes along with, you know, I've heard some people say, oh, ones with money are rude. I've met rude people, rich and poor. I've met nice people, rich and poor.
Yeah. It's not to say rude, but I think certain people, and you know, I'm just going from my experience in lending. I had one of the last loans I did was a doctor, and he had 5 buildings that he owned, and each one was a separate LLC. And so my underwriter said, well, we need 2 years tax returns for each LLC. And when I asked him that, he gave me this look like, what do you mean? I could just pay cash for this house.
So yes, so I do have to say, I used to be on the lending side, as you know. And I remember when I was on the lending side, people would say, do you know who I am? Yes, I know who you are. And they're still asking for a bank statement. I mean,
right.
I mean, come on, okay?
Yeah.
So,
kind of stuff.
Yeah, that I did experience more in the lending. On the real estate, I mean, not.
Okay.
Oh,
well, maybe
I
should start selling houses then.
Maybe you should. I don't know. Just like I said, maybe I should start getting the lending because, oh, wow, what I've encountered lately. Woo. Oh.
What's like the craziest house you've sold? Is there like anything crazy you've sold, or is everything just been kind of pretty much like just luxury, the standard luxury stuff? No helicopter pads.
I haven't done. I haven't even seen a helicopter pad. I was at a private helicopter party recently. I wouldn't say anything crazy. I mean, I do some of the standard. It's not just luxury. I do some of the standard as well.
Okay.
And the views, I would have to say the views is what really stands out to me.
Got it.
In these houses. I mean, they are just absolutely breathtaking.
Yeah. In Sarasota, I mean, you have a lot of breathtaking views out there. So that's a great point. I did one where the guy, the previous owner, had solid gold plumbing in the powder room, an elevator, and a bowling alley.
Ooh.
And the appraiser was like pulling his hair. This was years ago. He was like, how do I appraise a bowling alley? And it was a 1-lane bowling alley that the guy had built in the basement for his kids, I guess, or himself. I'm not sure. but that was the most
Wow.
cleanest house that I ever came across. That's still in my memory.
I
So,
have ran across bowling alleys in a home, but a lot of the luxury, what is very unique according to Non is I find that they can, and a lot of times will just pay the cash.
yeah, yeah, I think that's more accurate than not. Yeah. So I want to jump over to this other thing that I saw a video of you doing. You were talking to a women's group online, and it was a video on your website. And you talked about 4 steps to success on social media. I wanted to
Mhm.
kind of dive in that because look, obviously social media is here to stay.
Yes.
It's not going anywhere. There's some negative publicity, some negative. Obviously, we hear negative information about social media on a constant basis, where people will say, my identities, or they're getting too much information on us. The data mining, the recent one with TikTok, and whatsoever's going on with that, with the politicization of it.
Mhm.
Um, in your view, is social media still the place to go to gain market share?
I think a market share is when you focus on your niche or your niche or niche. I've heard said so many different ways. I really think it's really being focused and not just being so broad, right?
Uh-huh.
For example, I seem to be attracting a lot of investors, and there's very few I'll take on, but a lot of them I refer out. I know that market. It's not where I want to focus on.
Got it. So, but 4 steps to success on social media, come back to that. I mean, what are the 4 steps that one of our listeners could take?
Okay. I love to provide value. So the first one is definitely having a plan because so many people hop into social media with no plan. It's like the Wild West. It'd be like you building a house. Are you just
Mm.
going to go out there and just start building? It would be an absolute disaster. So, number one is having a plan. And I would say and I found this always to be true back in the days, when we spoke in person. I would ask everyone to raise their hands. How many people actually have a plan? And it never fails. It's only about 10% or less that do.
So when you say a plan, I mean, you're talking literally like a business plan, but for your social media life.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow. Wow. Really?
Yes, because I'm going to give you something that a lot of people have said blown their mind. When you look at time, right? So when you look at time, and let's just say 30 seconds a day, right? That starts adding up. Now let's fast forward into an hour a day. So an hour a day equals how many hours in a year? It's pretty simple.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's math way beyond my knowledge right now.
Well, it's super simple. It's just 365 hours. So I always ask people, Fabi, do you want 9 weeks of time off every year? What would you say?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, well, I just gave you a big hint on how to do that.
Wow. So you're saying 1 hour a day, and I'm going to do something with that 1 hour on social media, which will then accumulate to 365 hours for the year.
So let's reverse that a little bit. Okay, so let's say you're wasting an hour a day on social media, or you're wasting an hour a day period in your business, whether it's real
Oh
estate or
my
mortgage,
goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh
and
my
you take
goodness.
365 hours in a year,
Oh wow.
divided by traditional 40-hour work week. I don't even think that really
Wow.
applies anymore.
Yeah.
How many weeks do we have?
Oh my
365.
God. Oh my
9
God.
weeks.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy,
So
Jessica.
yeah, so I have so many coaches, but my communication coach said, Jessica, always great reminders. You can always make more money, not more time.
Huh. Jessica, since we're talking about social media, let me throw out something weird to you. I was recently watching, because getting ready for your interview, I'm a huge TED Talk guy. So, and I started listening to a bunch of TED Talks getting ready for your interview, believe it or not, right? Because I
Oh,
knew
wow, that's
you on
exciting.
TEDx. So one of the most popular ones, I can't remember the poor lady's name right now, but she did a thing on body language.
Oh,
It was one
Amy
of the most, is that who it is?
Power Pose.
So she was talking about body language, and I couldn't help but wonder, emojis on social media, don't they represent body language?
I have not studied that subject.
Yeah, I started wondering about that because we nowadays people are giving me emojis on text messages, emojis on this, emojis on that. I started wondering, are people judging us based on the emojis that we're using? Like if I use the smile instead of the smile with laughter, does that mean that I didn't laugh as much at your joke that you just posted? Are you offended by me not putting the teardrop with the laughter?
Bobby, I don't know. I haven't gone that deep. That's pretty deep.
I'm gonna
Um,
get Ginger in on this.
probably a whole study on it. Um, you did bring up a good point. People are going to read into meeting us in person, judging us online. It's amazing how someone will hear of you and then they start researching you. I mean, think about this. If someone say, hey, Fabi, you need to know Jessica,
Hmm.
right? What would you start doing? Well,
Yeah.
you did start looking me up. You go on this research phase. So your online image does matter.
So let me. Does your online image have to be exactly who you are in person, or can there be a deviation on that?
That is the $1 million question. It all depends on who you ask. So
Okay.
I always say, just be yourself, be who you are.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I kind of tend to go, because I figure sooner or later you're going to run into somebody that either knows of you on media or follows you on social media, even worse, right?
Mhm.
And for me, I started this Friday Funny thing on LinkedIn a couple of years ago, and it kind of taken on a life of its own now. But I'm really not that funny of a guy, I think. And so I think sometimes when people meet me, they expect me to be kind of funny, like have a Friday joke in my pocket,
Mhm.
and I don't. Like, I
You
don't.
know what? You could have fun with that. You could say, "Hey, people think I'm funny, Fabi, but I aspire to be, right? I aspire to be." And you've got a little humor in you. I don't really think I'm funny either. And some people said I'm funny. I'm like, I didn't mean to be funny at that moment, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it may be who you are. I do believe it is you because it makes you laugh. You love to laugh and you want to make others laugh and you want to have fun. I mean, look, laugh, lend, and eat. I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was waiting for my cupcakes to be delivered during this
You have
episode.
no idea. Sue said the same thing 2 weeks ago when she was on here. And so yeah,
Hey,
exactly. I mean, and so that's actually on our list for 2021. Like, we got to budget in some kind of way to deliver food ahead of time.
yeah,
Maybe I'll even start at lunch break. I'm
that's
gonna let
hilarious.
you talk. You know what I mean? It'll be cool. It'll be cool.
That
Yeah.
that's hilarious. So I will definitely. I got some ideas for you on that one. But that's funny that Sue said that. I love her.
Yeah.
So going back to social media, one is having the plan, and we already gave away number two. It's your online image,
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
and then the one thing I think so many people think is they have to connect with all these people. I got to connect with everyone out there. It's really not about that. It's just I always say quality over quantity.
Quantity over quality.
Quality over quantity.
Quality. So it's not quantity.
It's quality.
Really?
Yeah.
So, okay, no, I want to dive into this because I'm thinking in my head, I've always heard the more higher network you have, the more like exposure you get. But you're saying no, like have more quality. Like the people who are connecting with you are engaged with you more often.
Yes, absolutely. And so that's a misconception. I've spoken to people who say, Jessica, I have thousands of followers and my conversion's been zero.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then I'll meet someone with 200 and they're crushing it in business.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got amazing raving fans and customers. There's one I just closed on the key for her, a commercial. And this week she's already sent me two people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she's amazing and I love to support her. So instead of just chasing all these people, it's just really focusing on that
That's so
community.
smart. I mean, that's just so smart. You know what I mean? Because I think so much energy gets wasted on connecting with everybody in the world that sends you an invite on anything, and then next thing you know, you're, it's. I've actually seen I can't remember which month I started doing it. Maybe it was 2.5 or 3 months ago. I literally tried to see if I could change my algorithm in LinkedIn, and it's worked. But now what's happened is I'm seeing all the weirdest postings on LinkedIn that I've never seen before, and they have nothing to do with my industry. You know what I mean? And
Hilarious.
yeah, so now I have literally people dancing, you know what I mean? And all this other crazy stuff that I didn't even know happened on LinkedIn. And it's happening
Yep.
on LinkedIn and this business. But so to your point, I think I got to go back, reverse some of those people out of there and go back to my more of a mortgage industry LinkedIn profile, that algorithm in there.
Mhm.
Huh.
Absolutely. So, yep, it's just I say quality over quantity. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a lot of friends. It's just who are you going to really invest your time with at the end of the day?
Do you spend a lot of time connecting with people on social media?
I do, and I feel I don't say spend. Sometimes I would say more invest the right time with the right people.
Okay.
And it can be easier said than done. I'll say that right now. You have the plan, and some people can easily be derailed. I spoke to one gentleman. He goes, "What I thought was 10 minutes in social media was over 3 hours. It's like the black hole, right?
Yeah.
You just go in there." So, yep. So connect with the right people in there on social media. That's step 3. And then step 4 is all about management and executing of the plan. I am so specific, Bobby. I'll say, okay, this is how often I go on LinkedIn. This is how often I go on Facebook. This is how often I go on Instagram. This is what I post. This is how many people I interact with. This is how much time. 1 minute, do this. 5 minutes, do this. It's that plan because I don't want to be wasting time.
So how much time do you spend on LinkedIn right now? Like, what was your average for this week?
The week or per day?
Per day.
5 minutes.
Okay. So, and then that's it. You're done. You're not going to open it up again. So what's your most go-to social media platform?
Facebook.
So that's like, but is that, so it's interesting here. With Facebook, is it become more of a form of communication, or is it really a social media platform? Because I feel like Facebook is almost kind of creeped into where we're communicating with one another through Facebook. And it's no longer just, hey, I'm eating dinner at such and such, look at this amazing crab cake or whatever, right? It's gone beyond that, at least from what I'm seeing. What do you think?
Yes, it's social. I mean, that's what social media. It's social. It's interactive. I mean, everybody's going to have their own favorite channels. I just interviewed an amazing woman. She's been on all these national TV shows, and her favorite's Instagram. Right? That's her favorite. That's her community. Mine's Facebook, Instagram. But it makes sense for her. She's a very well-known, famous artist. For me, Instagram, I enjoy and I like. It's just for me, I feel like it's a more look at me, where Facebook is a more two-way street communication. That's why I prefer it more.
You start a social media with no filters.
No filters. Oh my goodness.
Like Instagram has all those filters. You can you're gonna do this and do that, and then make your picture look even 6 times better.
Oh, that filter. I thought you meant the other filter work, because you on Facebook you could say if anyone uses this profanity or this word, I don't want to see it. That's what I thought you meant.
No.
You know what? Yeah, I don't. It's pretty amazing, Fabio. I'll have friends and they'll take a selfie or a photo or an essay, and they're totally changing the photo around, like adding eyelashes and doing. I'm like, what are we doing? Apparently, I need to get. I don't want to be one of those people where someone meets me in person and be like, "Is that you?"
Oh,
you know what I mean? I've had people say, "You actually look like your photo." What were you expecting?
Well, one of the biggest things as a loan officer, okay, so confession time, right?
Yes.
I call realtors, right, and try to get appointments. And you go to their office and they're like, nothing looks like they did on their picture, because their picture's like 15, 20 years old and they never updated their headshot.
Oh, yes. Yes, we just had one. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is this the same person? My customer goes, look at her online. That is not her. I'm like, it's her. It is her. I think it was 25, 30 years ago. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You don't want to shock people or confuse people to that nature. But yeah, those are the 4 simple steps: is having the plan, your image, and then, connecting with the right people, and then the whole management, sharing the value. And I will say most of the, I don't want to say magic, but that's what it is. Most of the magic happens behind the scenes.
How many people actually execute? Because you used that word earlier when you're talking about management, right? Executing and managing. How many people will actually execute your 4 simple steps that you just laid out there?
It varies. I've seen some follow through, some evolve. The ones who follow through, though, are the ones who are the most successful.
Yeah, I love the word evolve. I think that's a great word to use, because I think sometimes people do it at their own pace, and they try to modify the lessons that they get, right?
Yep.
And I used to have a coach who used to tell me, listen, if you like the cake that you just ate, you follow the ingredients and you'll get the exact same cake again.
Yep.
Any deviation from that cake, you're going to get a different cake.
Yes, you will get a totally different cake.
Yeah. Okay. So because I think most people have a problem with execution. I think people see your results, see my results, see everybody's results, but the failure to launch is where the issue always lies that I've seen.
And that's where you've got to dig in deep and say, why?
Yeah.
There's usually an underlying factor. Do you really want to be in lending? Do you really want to be in real estate?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great question to ask. So speaking of real estate, September is Realtor Safety Month.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that till I started researching you, right? Even though I've
Yes.
been in the mortgage business for 26 years, I don't know how long September's been the Realtor Safety. When did this start? Like, did it start recently? A couple of
I
years ago?
don't even know. No, it's been a while. I don't know the exact date when it started. It's been a while though.
Yeah,
Great question.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't have a chance to figure that one out. I guess, do we know why it started? I mean, obviously realtors need safety, right? I mean, showing houses,
From
whatever.
my from my understanding, there I don't understand why September. And to be completely raw and real here, I don't even know why we have a month. I think it should be every single day, because
Perfect.
I've had organizations reach out about Christine or I speaking on this subject,
Hmm.
and they'll say, okay, well we're I actually just got an inquiry for next year in September, and I said, why are we waiting until September?
Yeah. Why can't we talk
They're
about it in
they're
January? Yeah.
Yeah, why not December, January? Why? Oh, because it's not safety month. I'm like, well, every single day people are encountering, I think last year alone it was like 80,000 people in the real estate industry had an unsafe moment.
80,000?
Yes, so a lot of people have come forward and said that they don't share, they don't talk about it. They're A lot of people come forward to me and said nobody knows. And
80,000 is a lot of numbers though, right?
mhm,
I mean, I
yep.
guess some are incidences that they're just scared and some are actual incidents where something may have even occurred.
Yeah, I don't know the details of the report. I just
Right.
know that a lot of people out there don't even share or talk about it.
That's awful. That's
Hmm.
awful. Do you think doing online has made it a little bit safer? I mean, because now we're doing more and more virtual listings and virtual open houses.
Yes and no. I think it's helped to a certain extent,
Mhm.
but I know of some agents who said that now, since the whole world is online, people can look you up easier, follow you easier,
Oh, okay.
things of that nature. For example, it's kind of fascinating. There's one woman I spoke with high up in real estate. She actually had a boyfriend who went, really bad, went to court and everything. So she didn't have anything online. I've met a lot of women like this. It's usually a relationship, someone they know. So she couldn't have anything online. So this gentleman called. He saw a photo of her once somewhere,
Hmm.
and he said, "Hey, I want to look at houses, blah blah blah." And she said, "Oh, great. How did you hear of me?" And he goes, "Oh, I found you online. I was doing research." That was a flag to her. And what did you see that you liked? Oh, I can't remember. Right away, it was a flag. Well, it turns out she reached out to the board, gave them the heads up. They notified everyone. And this guy was calling saying the same thing with a bunch of females.
Wow. 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 So you and Christine, you mentioned this, you guys wrote a book together called Clear Boundaries.
Yes.
Now, I didn't read it, but I just kind of went through the highlights of it. But it was a very interesting comment in there that I at least stood out to me. And you guys were talking about women's safety in the workplace, so not always real estate in the workplace. Then
Mm-hmm.
you guys went on to say, as well as male coworkers who want to provide a safe environment. I thought that was very brave of you guys to put that in there. I really appreciate you guys making that statement.
Yes.
Because really, I mean, there is a lot of male coworkers who want to
Mm-hmm.
provide that safe place for people. Everybody, not just women, but everybody, to be able to
Yes.
come and work safely and have a place where they feel comfortable.
Yep.
So how did that book,
Absolutely.
how did that book come around? About, I mean, where was the idea from? Where did you guys get the idea?
Oh, that is such a great question. So the book is called Clear Boundaries, Every Business Woman's Essential Safety Guide. It's been a year and a half. 5 women have reported that it saved their lives. Our
Wow.
goal was one, so I'm really happy to hear that. And when we speak, we do add other specific information for myself, real estate, just because there's some more real estate specific information. That how it actually all came about. I was at an event in Texas, and there was a gentleman at the event that ended up in my hotel room, and I fortunately was able to escape.
Hmm.
And I sat there and thought, I've had so many close encounters, mortgage conferences, real estate events. I've had so many crazy things happen. And I started thinking, I'm going to say thoughts are powerful, because I kept thinking, why has nobody written a book? I didn't know this was a common scenario. I didn't know that this was common. Why is nobody talking about this? I kept thinking there's got to be a book, got to be a book, for 6 months. Well, then I met Christine, and Christine opened up and shared with me, her friend was killed by a boyfriend. And anyhow, she had a dream to write a safety book. I said, no way. I've been thinking about it. So we started writing it, and while we were writing it, one of her employees was murdered.
Oh my God.
So we hurried up and did the book in 3 months, and we got it out there.
Wow. So when you guys were writing it, I mean, was it emotional writing it? Was it bringing back any kind of feelings, or it was just a kind of a get through and get this information out there?
The only really feeling was I'm so excited to let other women know of what's happening. And it's not going to cover every single scenario, right? It's just some of the basics out there. Because the other thing I will say is Christine said a lot of the younger women were coming to her and they really didn't know what was going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we felt bad for them. We felt that they were almost a target market. And the only reason why, I guess the only reason why they're thinking I got targeted at this event is I look like the youngest one, is what they're thinking. I'm 44, and so that was 2 years ago, so I was 42. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess those kind of moments do change the course that we're on in life. I mean, and so, I mean, obviously I've never experienced anything like that in my life either, you know what I mean? So I don't know what it's like. But I mean, I can imagine that it's just got to be. Does it bother you when you're in the conference again after that? Did it bother you, or were you paranoid or cautious more, or how did you approach the next conference that you were at?
Oh, I am extremely cautious.
Yeah.
I'm extremely cautious, always looking around, very, very cautious.
Yeah,
Yes.
smart. Let's fast forward a little bit here, because believe it or not, I mean, we're this conversation is going too fast for me. You were kind enough to send me your Create the Perfect Day book.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was amazing, by the way. I really did. That one I did read. I do have a confession to make, though, okay? So when I met you last,
a lot of confessions.
I know, but this is the first one was just, I think, more of a spur of the moment. This one was actually note taking when I was
Oh, okay.
Because last year when we met at Tampa, Florida, when we were at
Mm-hmm.
Christine's Vision Summit, you asked me in the hotel lobby if there was anything you could ever help me with.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that feeling. It was so odd. Like no one's ever asked me that question that I just met. Now you asked me that earlier today also on the phone call. Is there anything I can help you with, Fob? And then I'm reading the book, and Barry mentions the same thing about you in the foreword. You know, that you like always asking people, hey, can I help you with something? Can I connect with you somebody? Can I do this for you? Where did this personality of giving so generously come from?
Wow, that's a great question. I've never been asked that question.
Well, I mean, when I read the forward, I saw Barry Habib talk about you, and I was like, well, that's what I remember. Like, if someone had said to me before this interview, what do you remember about Jessica Peterson? I swear on my life, I wouldn't remember the WOW agency. I would remember you were a realtor, but I would remember the incident in the hotel lobby after you had spoken. I came up to greet myself, and you said, hey, is there anything I can ever help you with? It just stuck in my memory. Like, that's amazing that someone would ask me that question.
You know, if I had to guess where it came back from, I didn't have the best childhood, I guess. I really wish, and I've been passionate, I've been volunteering in our schools for 10 years and mentoring kids, and I really wish I would have had someone in my life. And so if I really had to guess, it was probably from that moment where when someone did connect and be there for me and give, it was the best feeling ever. And why not pay it forward? And that's why I have Simply Wow Agency. I say it's simple, just wow people, your income will increase, and you'll have a wow life. In my TEDx talk that I gave, I spoke about the top regrets of the ones dying. And it was not staying in touch with people, those relationships. It's that, wow, it feels so good to wow someone, and it feels good to be wowed back, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Can you wow everybody 100% of the time? No,
and you don't want to.
Okay. Thank you. That takes a lot of pressure off of it. Okay. I'm always like, how do I wow everybody all the 100% of the time?
No, you don't want to. You don't want to. Yeah, so I make it a mission. I'm actually growing a community of WOW Power players across America where everyone takes a pledge to wow one person a day. And people say, well, how do you do that? And I say, there's a variety of ways. Sending a card, picking up the phone, calling someone, saying, how can I help you? How can I support you? Sending them a gift. Smiling. Come on, smile.
I'm gonna put that on my list of things to do from now on, believe it or not. Okay. Your book, back to your book, Create the Perfect Day, right? My
Yes.
dad used to tell me, this is something, my dad was a salesman, by the way, right? And he would say to me, son, everyone gets 24 hours. No one gets 23. No one gets 25. It's what you do with your 24 hours that makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Your book seemed to kind of take that statement and boom, like really just break it down even further, right? And more granular.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about creating this perfect day, do we have to plan out as meticulously the whole 24 hours? And does it have to be 7 days a week, 365 days a year?
Yes and no. So what it comes down to is chunks of time, right? So Sunday, I go to worship, which right now is virtual, and then I have family time. Do I have every minute mapped out with my family? No, I just know this time. I know this is my time to read. I know this is my time for worship. I have friends who sometimes will reach out and just want to chit chat. I mean, if I took every single phone call and talk to chit chat with everyone every single day, get nothing done. I love my friends. I say, oh, I can't wait to talk with you. I have, time set aside Saturday morning from 10:30 to 12:30. What works for you, right? So it's just structuring your day and time, because if you don't control it, it's going to control you and you're not going to get anything done. And I always say that here is how so many people I found feel in mortgage, real estate. They feel like that hamster in the wheel, coffee in hand, hair and fire, chase the next deal, and then squirrel moment, right? Mm-hmm. We've all been there. Absolutely. And we have so much going on. So if you're really focused and taking that chunk of time, you're going to be much more happier, joyful, productive, all of that.
So like I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. Okay. That's my habit. 4:30, 4:45, I'm like, boom, out, right? I do my morning meditation. I do my morning prayers. I do my exercise. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, I feel like the rest of the day is like right in front of me. Mm-hmm. I have nothing planned. I'll be the first one to tell you.
No, you do though. You do have, like today you have this planned, right?
That's true. No, there is
this plan.
Yes. Planned, right? There are definitely, phone calls and appointments that I have to make and meetings that I have to be at, right?
Yes.
So I guess what I'm trying to understand then is not every hour of that calendar has to be filled in.
Well, yes and no again. So let me give you another example. There's a gentleman who's highly successful in real estate. He goes, it's simple. 4 hours of my day, I work on the business, 4 hours of my day in the business. I'm focused during that time, creating more business, whether he was door knocking, calling old friends, sending out cards, and then working in the business, showing the houses and working on. So it was just simple, broke it down into the 2 4-hour segments. It's all up to you. I like to break it down into power hours for me.
Power hours, talk about that. What does that mean?
So I look at, okay, so this hour, what do I want to go ahead and achieve in this hour? I just break it down. So yeah, I support my husband in his business, and I take 1 power hour a day and I support him in his business. Now, is it the exact hour, exact every day, every week? No. I just blend it in with what I've got going on.
It feels like for me, right? Just hearing you say, like, I just feel like pressure. Like I feel like I'm contained in this calendar. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I get that. Do you get that from a lot of clients who tell you that?
No, I don't receive that at all. Actually, most people have said that they feel relief knowing, because they'll wake up feeling overwhelmed. I've got to work out. I got to take care of the kids. I got to make my job. And I got to take care of these bills. And they have no structure of their day. Okay, so you got to pay the bills instead of just saying, I got to pay the bills. I got to pay the bills. And it's just top of your head. When is that time you're going to set aside for it? I used to, years ago, probably like 20 years ago, I used to break it down per minute. Now that'll cause insanity. Right. that will cause insanity. Now things will happen in life, right? Things will happen in life, and you've got to adjust and go with the flow and say, I'll never forget, one of my coaches said, when you take an hour of something, so let's just use the illustration of paying the bills. If something replaced that hour, you've got to find another hour to exchange it with.
Okay. So you can be flexible, you can move things around. It's not something so rigid and in concrete, in other words.
Exactly. It's not rigid and concrete. And I wrote the book, as you know, because my husband was in ICU 4 years ago and almost didn't make it. And I thought every day is perfect because we're alive. Mm-hmm. Why are we not creating the life we desire, the life we want? And so many people said, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And they never do it. It's because they don't plan for it, right? Just like if Bobby kept saying, I want to interview Jessica, I want to interview Jessica, I want to interview Jessica, and you don't ever schedule it, act, it would have happened?
Right. No, impossible.
No.
Unless Jessica called me and said, "Hey, Fob, I need to be on your show." Right.
Oh, did I? I don't remember
Not
that.
at all. No, no, no.
I was like, wait a second, where have I been?
So, Create the Perfect Day for me, what I liked about it was you had a balance between business life and personal life in there.
Mhm.
And I thought that was great because so many time management courses and classes that I've taken, because obviously you can now tell that's one of my weakest links.
We all have our weaknesses, okay?
I keep taking them
Welcome.
over and over again. It's still not going in. But so I like the fact that it's a balance between work and personal, right? Because so often we do skip our family, we do skip our children, right? Putting
Yes.
them on
Yeah.
our schedule, even like as rude as that sounds to me, but allowing for that family time in my day.
Yeah.
Why did that was so important for you to kind of isolate?
Because I've noticed a common theme. I've worked and coached with a lot of top producing agents, and I noticed it was so much work. Their health was suffering, their family was suffering, their relationships was suffering. I noticed this common theme. And then I'll never forget, I met this gentleman. He's a well known surgeon, brain surgeon. And he's the one that shared with me these 4 areas. And then later on that day, I read an article from an online website I love to go to, and it had the same information. I thought, wow, this is profound. And it's just having that balance. And I say, life is like driving a car. If you get a flat tire, you don't get very far. So you've got to be filled up in each of these areas. Now, someone asked me a really good question the other day. Does this mean, exactly hours for hours? So 4 hours for health, 4 hours for work, 4 hours for family relationships, 4 hours for social impact faith? No, it just means make sure your tire's filled up in each of those areas. Because there's another top agent, she's amazing, Rhonda, out in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And she said one of her top regrets was work consumed her. Her whole personal life, health, everything just went downhill. And now she stops and she'll put that phone away.
Yeah, yeah. I was like that in the late '90s. I feel like in the late '90s, my entire life was just about work, and then I think it was actually Tony Robbins that changed me around in like '98 or '99, and it was like a light bulb turned on, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to go down that road that I see happening. So kind of like before, I guess your buddy Rhonda there.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to talk about in Create the Perfect Day, I think it was your last chapter actually. You talk about celebrating,
Mm-hmm.
which was cool, right? Because I love celebrating, right?
Yes.
I've had a hard time celebrating small wins, and you make a point about that. I used to have a manager that used to celebrate, like if one guy ordered 6 appraisals in a month or something. You know what I mean? And I would
Yeah.
look at it and say, "Why are you celebrating 6 appraisal orders? That's nothing." And he said to me, "Fab, we got to celebrate the small wins so we can then celebrate the big wins."
Mm-hmm.
It always irritated me, these little things like that, right? But why is it celebrating small wins so important?
Because isn't life about having fun and celebrating?
Okay.
At the end of the day, right? I've noticed a common theme with people who are top producers, and they go and there's nothing wrong, they just go, go, go. And I'll ask them, how are you going to celebrate? Oh, I'm going to get another deal. Well, does that sound fun? I mean, to a certain extent, right? Um, so
So
yeah, so often.
celebration to you is about fun.
Well, I have all sorts of ways I celebrate. I wrote about
Oh,
it in the book. I mean, I just went and got a facial the other day. I'm like, I'm celebrating, right?
got
I
it.
went I went and got a facial, or it could just be going out and buying flowers, or I mean, it could just be simple things like some people have said gifting more time for social media, or it's just so many variety of different things. For us, we have a boat. It could be going out in the boat.
So we have to define how we celebrate then. So it can't be whatever
Absolutely.
we're seeing, because too often, I mean, including myself, I look at social media and say, "Oh my God, I want to celebrate like Jessica." You know what I mean? She's on the boat, she's going down the river, whatever you're doing. You know what I mean? I want to go do that, but I don't have a boat.
That's okay. That's okay, Bobby. So there's a variety of ways. So it's all about coming up with your custom celebration plan,
Got it.
and what ways do you enjoy celebrating? Just because I may go on the boat doesn't mean others may enjoy going on the boat. And if you want to go on the boat, well, find friends who have a boat and say, hey, let's go celebrate. Or you can go ahead and rent a boat, or you could take a vacation for the boat. I mean, there's so many different possibilities, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you a question. And you're a top performer. The feeling of losing is more intense to me than the feeling of winning. You ever thought about that? Because like when I lose a deal or when I lose something, that feeling overwhelms me.
Mhm.
But when I win or when I reach my goals or whatever, to your point of the celebration, it's like, yeah, huh, next time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't ponder the win. I don't like I will ponder the loss. Like what happened? Let's do it. You know what I mean? Are you seeing that with a lot of people or that are top performers with that, or can you identify with that?
I can't identify with that. The only way I can is, I did have some people recently, I feel bad for them. They can't buy the house anymore because they lost their job,
Mm,
right? So that's a loss on the real estate, but what's bigger is a loss of someone's dream. So I'm more saddened by the loss of them than for me, right? So I don't really look. I just look at such. It's always like that saying: "Is the glass half full or half empty?" It's just how you're looking at it.
mm, mm.
I look at more at the positive wins. You're always going to have, losses, and there's going to be lots of wins.
I guess, yeah. There, when you look at the glass half empty or half full, right? When you go back to that analogy, how often are you seeing it half empty? Do you ever see it half empty?
Not very often. I do at times.
Yeah.
Well, right now, with the fires, I have family evacuated and everything else. I mean, it's right now living through that. Of course, I could sit here and just be intensely focused on, oh, it's not looking good. Their houses, it looks like it's not going to make it. I could sit there. Instead, I'm choosing to say, wow, I'm so grateful that their house is still standing today. I'm so grateful that they're alive. I'm grateful they have the opportunity to leave.
So it really is the difference between, I heard somebody recently say this, if you say I have to versus I get to,
Mm-hmm.
it's
I
almost
want,
right. It's almost as simple as that statement. Like if somebody says, I have to go eat dinner with my family versus I get to go eat dinner with my family, it can be as simple as that.
or I like instead of I want to eat dinner. Like if I heard my daughter say, I have to eat dinner with my mom, that's depressing. I
Mhm.
get to eat dinner with my mom, it's happy. Say, I want to have dinner with my mom, that elevates it even higher.
Yeah, I like that. That's a third part we can add on to it. I'm gonna put that in my notes also. See, I got two nuggets out of you today.
I'm glad you got something, right?
Oh, dude, I love that. This is why I love talking to people because I think like my life is probably more benefiting out of these conversations than anyone else's, and that's why I do like to go out and find remarkable people like yourself who have this amazing plethora of knowledge that can be shared with us and anybody listening to the show today.
You're
Believe it
so
or
kind. You're so
not.
kind.
Oh no, no, thank you for being on here. We are out of time now, unless you have more time, but I have taken up a lot of your time today, Jessica. I'm going to ask you one last question, and Sue answered this question, so you're going to have to answer it also.
Okay.
Since we are called Laugh, Lend, and Eat,
Hmm.
is there like a favorite go-to food for you that you're like, this is like when I come home from traveling or when I'm having a bad day and I need to snap out of it, I get X and I feel better.
I don't know if I'd say a food. I do like organic white wine or a good martini.
Okay, fair
That
enough.
would probably be more of the,
Okay.
what I eat is, people that know me, it's never usually the same. And they always call my eating lifestyle exotic. I don't eat the norm. For example, I love to experiment. If I'm going to make cupcakes, I'm like, great, we're going to do egg-free, gluten-free. I'm going to add in zucchini and kale. And people are like, how did you do this? It tastes good. I don't cook the norm. So, and I don't like to eat the same thing on a regular basis. So I
What
do though
what
like,
do you cook, do you cook at home then with your exotic taste there?
I do like to cook. Now, am I a good cook? That's probably a different question. My husband is a better cook than I am. I will
Really?
absolutely admit that.
That's
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, no, cooking is fun. I love cooking myself. And my daughter, by the way, who's 26, says she won't cook for me because she's so intimidated by my wife or my cooking. And I thought that was the
Wow.
greatest pop out in the world that she could ever have.
That might just be an excuse so you
Right.
guys keep
I
cooking for.
want my dad to cook for me.
Yes, I want my dad to cook for me. Yes, this is what I want. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I do think I have a teenage daughter. I do think the younger generation we're heading in, they're not going to be as much cooks like we are. It's more eating out, picking up.
Yeah, I think this generation is definitely more about eating out and not definitely not eating in as much. But you know what? Every generation changes the show around, and so who knows what's next. But
Exactly.
Jessica, thank you so much for coming on Life, Lend, and Eat. Really, really appreciate your time. You are an absolutely amazing person. I've enjoyed the conversation with you on and off the show, and I hope that we can have some more conversations as we proceed on our road here. So thank you once again for being on here.
Sounds amazing. Thank you, everyone. Have a wow day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to Laugh, Lend, and Eat. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. Please remember to subscribe to our channel so that you are notified when a new episode is added. Thanks again to First Option Mortgage and One Good One Staffing Services for your continued support. Please text or email Fabi with any questions you may have about this episode. The best way to connect with Fabi is through Facebook's Laugh, Lend, and Eat page. Once again, thank you for listening and supporting our show.